I read one of your blog articles where you were making the case for making lifestyle changes because A, it increases longevity, of course, but also even if it doesn't, it at least improves quality of life. And people would then, on average, die in different ways to what they are now. So you're less likely to die of non-communicable diseases and so on. Is there a good way to die?
Oh, that reminds me of that awesome video from about 10 years ago, the cartoon "Dumb Ways to Die." Have you seen that?
You should Google
that later. That was
I
a
will.
really clever public health campaign done by
It's ringing a bell.
Trains back in the day, which I don't think they even exist now. And it went viral. It was very clever. Anyway, good ways to die. Look, I think everyone has to die at some point, and I think my aim is to try and help people to be as healthy for as long as possible. My grandma, she was 101. She actually died not long ago, about two months ago.
I'm sorry to hear.
Thank you. Look, Betty was an amazing, amazing individual, and she died in what I think is the way that anyone would be lucky to go, and more people would be lucky to go. She basically got to 100. She decided she was ready. She was able to die in dignity at home with her family, and she was healthy, independent, and relatively active right until the end. The challenge we have is that that's not how most people die in Australia. The average Australian lives with 13 years of pain and suffering at the end of their life from diseases that we know how to prevent. We're just simply not putting the things in place to support people to avoid those diseases. So particularly diseases like diabetes, cancer, heart disease, there are things that we've talked about today that would make a huge difference to tens of thousands of people in those final years.
Sure.
So it's about giving people back, I suppose, those last 10 years. How can we make sure that every Australian is as healthy for as long as possible, and then at some point has to go on to whatever comes next, but doesn't have years of pain and suffering prior.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, one last question. Anyone could speculate on this, but it makes sense to ask someone like you. If you could project...
You have a great way of setting up questions.
Do I?
Yeah. It puts a lot of pressure, but it also makes me kind of like lean in thinking, my gosh, what is he about to ask me?
That's funny.
The Fauci reference before.
Right.
I was like, man, that is pressure. Comparing me to
sorry.
Fauci, he's a wonderful man. I take it as a big compliment.
You should. You know why I also do it? Because sometimes I feel that my questions are stupid.
Oh, no.
And so I have to... Maybe,
no such thing as a stupid question.
Well, I don't know. I feel like I have to use sophistry to convince you in the audience they're not dumb questions.
No. They've been good questions.
If you can project yourself, let's say 500, 1,000 years into the future, do you think we'll ever be able to prevent death and become immortal? Will science ever get to that point?
I don't think so. Well, at the moment, our life expectancy is going backwards.
Yeah, I heard you say
for the
that.
first time in the history of mankind, in fact, or personkind, we're now living shorter life expectancies, or our kids are likely to. And that's, again, from the same diseases we're talking about. No, I think based on what I know about the human body and the fact that sort of aging is built in, and then the psychology of the fact that humans, even if I think we gave them the option to live forever, but they had to live a really boring life, I just can't see it happening. I don't think cryogenics will ever get there either, but maybe Are
there sincere attempts at that?
There are. Well, they kind of come and go, don't they, when billionaires suddenly get to the end of their lives,
right.
In waves every kind of 10 years. So I don't know, would you want to live forever?
I'd like the option.
Yeah?
I have
Imagine though if everyone lived forever.
Know.
Imagine how crowded it would be.
Well, we would have to stop having kids. If we got to that point, we would have to stop having kids.
So then there'd just be eventually, there'd just be a huge bunch of old people.
But presumably, if we've fixed the death problem, we've also been able to rejuvenate cells and stuff, right? So we could be in our peak.
So everyone, so it's just going to be an entire planet of beautiful...
Yeah, we're all hot.
Or beautiful people in their 20s.
100%. That's what I'm hoping for.
Well...
Don't kill my dream.
I look forward to joining your utopian kingdom one day.
Fair enough. Did you enjoy that?
well then why haven't you clicked subscribe? I'm not angry. It's not about that. But why the haven't you clicked subscribe?